The dark side of New Year's Eve celebrations. Welcome to my channel, where we delve into the most shocking and disturbing crime stories from around the world. In today's video, we'll explore how New Year's Eve, a time traditionally associated with celebration, joy, and new beginnings, has sometimes been marred by horrific acts of violence and crime. In this video, we'll focus on three important cases that highlight how the holiday season can take a dark turn. The mass attacks that occurred in Cologne, Germany on New Year's Eve in 2015. The tragic mass shooting in Monterey Park, California during the Lunar New Year celebrations of 2023. The series of attacks that rocked Piazza Duomo in Milan, Italy on New Year's Eve in 2021. Let's begin our journey into these disturbing stories. The clock struck midnight on December 31st, 2015, and thousands of revelers filled the streets of Cologne, Germany, ready to welcome the new year. Near Cologne Central Station and the iconic Cologne Cathedral, a festive atmosphere quickly turned into a nightmare for many women who attended the celebration. The next morning, reports began to arrive of large-scale sexual assaults and robberies. The scale of the attacks shocked Germany and the world. A night that shook the multi-ethnic city on the Rhine, divided German society, and gave vent to the far-right and xenophobic movements opposed to Chancellor Angela Merkel's policy of openness to refugees. On January 8th, the weekly Der Spiegel published a first reconstruction, partial but reliable, of the events. At 9 o'clock on December 31st, several hundred young people had already gathered in the square between the station and the imposing mass of the Gothic cathedral for the usual New Year's Eve celebrations. As usual, the police were present in force, 88 riot police from the 14th Company on duty that night. At 1 a.m. on January 1st, the Facebook group Netwerk Köln raised the alarm. Horrific scenes at the station, women in tears after being sexually assaulted by the crowd. The post, immediately shared by the group's 140,000 members, was relaunched in the following days on Twitter and on xenophobic sites, which invaded the web. Insults to Merkel, racist slogans, exhortations to expel the Arabs, blacks, and gypsies hosted at taxpayers' expense. Contemptuous comments on the crazy chancellor who has opened the doors to millions of antisocial and sex-starved immigrants. Calls to put them all on a ship and drown them in the Atlantic. The perpetrators of violence are almost always young people who come from sexist cultures where women are subjugated. Sexuality is repressed, and Islamist propaganda conveys the image of a corrupt and depraved West, without ethical and religious principles. Suddenly they find themselves catapulted into a diametrically opposed reality. They think that everything is permitted, and they take out on women their frustrations, complexes, the resentment accumulated over years of marginalization, the fear of not being accepted. The way forward is integration, insists the mayor. Over 1,200 women have come forward to report incidents ranging from sexual harassment to actual assaults and thefts. Most of these attacks occurred in crowded spaces where large groups of men, described as apparently of North African or Middle Eastern origin, surrounded, groped, and robbed women. Police were overwhelmed. Initial reports understated the scale of the crime, sparking outrage as many accused authorities of mishandling the situation. The events in Cologne had significant social and political implications. Germany was in the midst of a heated debate over immigration, particularly due to the influx of refugees during the Syrian crisis. The attacks exacerbated tensions, with some blaming refugee policy for bringing in individuals who perpetrated these crimes. Chancellor Angela Merkel faced enormous pressure, and these events led to tougher sexual assault laws and the deportation of non-citizen offenders. For the victims, the trauma went beyond physical harm. Many reported lasting psychological effects, and the incident left a scar on how women felt about public safety during large-scale events. Now fast forward to another New Year's Eve celebration, this time in Monterey Park, California. Although this incident occurred on the Lunar New Year rather than December 31st, it highlights the vulnerability of public gatherings meant for joy and community. 10 people were killed and 19 were injured in a shooting at a local nightclub, not far from where the Chinese Lunar New Year celebrations had recently ended. Monterey Park is a city of about 60,000 people with a large Asian population located about 10 miles from Los Angeles. On Saturday afternoon, tens of thousands of people had gathered for a 2-day festival, considered one of the largest Lunar New Year events in the region. On January 21, 2023, a 72-year-old man named Hu Can Tran entered the Star Ballroom dance studio, where locals were celebrating the Lunar New Year. Armed with a semi-automatic weapon, Tran opened fire, killing 10 people and wounding several others. After the attack, Tran went to another dance studio in nearby Alhambra, but a heroic bystander wrestled the gun from his hands, preventing further tragedy. Tran then committed suicide in his van as police approached. Monterey Park is known for its vibrant Asian American community. The shooting devastated the city, turning a celebration of culture and heritage into a scene of horror. This incident has reignited discussions about gun control in the United States. Despite being one of the most advanced nations in the world, the US continues to deal with mass shootings at an alarming rate. While Tran's motive remains unclear, investigators have speculated that personal grievances may have played a role. This case is a chilling reminder of how unresolved issues can spiral into public tragedies. The latest case takes us to Milan, Italy, where New Year's Eve 2021 took a dark turn in the city's iconic Piazza Duomo. As thousands of people gathered to celebrate, at least 9 women were attacked by groups of young men. The attacks involved groping, harassment, and in some cases, violent assault. The victims described being surrounded by groups of up to 30 men who took advantage of the chaos of the party to commit their crimes. The first episode, according to sources from the Milan police headquarters, involved a young 19-year-old, a student living away from home who, while she was walking after having briefly distanced herself from her group of friends, was surrounded and harassed by several boys. The second episode, also documented, involved 2 22-year-old German tourists, who were also at the mercy of the group just a short distance from the police. The third episode involved 2 other girls in the same way, and in this circumstance, one of them was also reportedly robbed. After the media outcry, other young girls came forward and reported the harassment, bringing the total number of complaints against unknown persons to 9. Initially, the police had difficulty identifying the perpetrators due to the size of the crowd. However, videos and testimonies eventually led to arrests. Many of the suspects were young men of immigrant origin, sparking a national debate on integration and security. Immediately afterward, investigations were launched, led by the weak bands pool of the Milan Public Prosecutor's Office with the collaboration of the Flying Squad. The recordings circulated on social media, then picked up by newspapers, together with images from surveillance cameras, were useful to investigators in identifying some of those responsible. Investigators have identified the boys, about 30, who allegedly committed the sexual assaults, perhaps divided into several groups. All the victims reported being approached and harassed by young men who were apparently foreign of North African origin, who allegedly acted in a pack manner. The incidents have sparked outrage across Italy. Many have criticized the handling of the situation, calling for better security measures during large-scale events. The attacks have also reignited debates about the safety of women in public spaces and the cultural factors that contribute to such crimes. The women targeted in Piazza Duomo faced emotional and psychological trauma. The event raised awareness of the need for social change and greater responsibility. These cases remind us that while New Year's Eve is a time of celebration and hope, it can also become the stage for horrific acts of violence. Whether in Germany, the United States, or Italy, these crimes have left lasting scars on their communities. Important steps to ensure safe celebrations include enhanced security measures. Large-scale events must prioritize the safety of attendees through adequate policing and surveillance. Social change. Education and awareness about respect and responsibility are key to preventing crimes like those in Cologne and Milan. Gun control. Incidents like the one in Monterey Park underscore the need for stricter gun laws and better mental health support. As we approach another New Year's Eve, let us remember these stories, not to dampen the holiday spirit, but to remain vigilant and ensure that similar tragedies do not happen again. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more true crime stories from around the world. Let me know in the comments what you think about these cases and what measures you think society can take to prevent similar incidents. Happy 2025 to everyone. May it be a year full of rewards,